I think. I'm going to open my hotel. Morning. So the walkthrough is located under View, 3D View. So far we've been looking at default 3D views and cameras. So the default 3D view allows you to generate orthographic views, right? So you can make axonometric viewports or use the view cube. Cameras allow you to create perspectival views, so you can place at a location and specify a target. Now the walkthrough is basically a sequence of cameras, and you specify the length of the keyframes as well as adjust the location or the direction of individual control points, right? So I'm going to click on walkthrough, and by default it kind of starts setting up. Like you should choose a view that you want to use. Like let's say I want to see the landscape or the topography a bit and see the building or know where the building is. And you will be drawing an outline for the movement of the walkthrough, because it's basically the camera is going to move at that direction, right? So I'm going to start clicking on points, and what you're seeing is basically I'm inputting control points as well as going to specify directions for the camera to look at. So it's always going to draw a spline. So I'm going to kind of go around here and stop somewhere here. I'm going to make it really simple. Now after you create it, it may be hidden. If that's the case, you can always go to the project browser and find the walkthrough you just created. Right click to it and do show camera. It will show you the path you just created as well as the direction of the camera angle. And the best way to actually look at that is open up your walkthrough by double clicking to it, and then when you have a plan view where you can see the walkthrough and what the walkthrough is seeing, like a viewport of the walkthrough, go to view and do under Windows do tile so that you can see them side by side. Right, so I can right click here to show camera again. And I'm going to adjust my viewport for the video. Let's say something like this. Right now I'm not seeing the full building because I have a far clip plane active. So my depth of the camera is kind of restricting the view, which is basically this line. Right? That's my field of view, and it has a far clip plane. And beyond that I don't see, so I'm going to disable that. And hit apply. So now I can see everything. Say it again. So I basically opened the walkthrough as a window, and then opened the plan view to see the walkthrough. Then right click the walkthrough, do show camera. It will show it on the plan, so that you will be able to edit it as well, right? And if you want to edit the, if you want to see what the walkthrough is doing, go to edit walkthrough, and it will show you the keyframes as well as the target and direction for the walkthrough. It's a movie basically, yeah. It's a movie. So this is basically going to show you each frame of the movement, right? And you can basically go through these frames by using these control options. So I can go through each frame, and if you look on the left, that's basically what's going to happen at the camera, right? And I can also jump with longer gaps. And if you want to see the whole movement, you can just press play. Let's see. I should have done it in the walkthrough window. So it showed it in the plan. Let's try it here. It's going to show you actually how the camera is behaving. It's a bit slow right now. Say what? No, I specified the path, and then I'm going to now show you how you can also change like the angle or the placement of the cameras in between. And what it's doing is basically interpolating. On the spline specifies the movement of the location of the camera, and then you can specify custom target views at specific keyframes, and then they will be interpolated as the camera is moving, right? So if at a specific keyframe you want to look at the building at a specific angle, you can set that, and then the next one that you set, it will start turning towards that. So it's basically interpolating the location as well as the target of the camera. Sure, it can go through the building. It can go inside as well. Yeah. As you're doing walkthrough? Like what? Like you wanna turn them off between certain frames and enable them at certain frames? I'm not sure if you have that much customization option, because it's pretty simple the way it's constructed. It's just basically exporting a video image or a footage of the project. Now, if you want to edit the walkthrough, when you're in the edit walkthrough option, you can basically select no. So you could, from the controls, you can switch to add keyframe or remove keyframe, or switch to path. And when you switch to path, it basically enables you to adjust the movement of the camera, right? This is basically the path of the camera. So you can change these control points. You can also add more control points if you want to slow down the camera movement. So if I basically add more control points here, it's going to slow down the camera movement around there, right? Because there's more information, more keyframes. You can also remove keyframes by clicking here. And if you switch to active camera, I think you should be able to go to individual frame. So let's say go to 20th frame, or let's say 50. You can type in the exact frame you want to go to using the numeric keys and see what it's doing. And then you should be able to adjust the location as well as the target of the camera. So now I can start tilting which direction I want the camera to look at that keyframe, right? I'm overriding at this keyframe location. I'm overriding the camera target. So now if I go to 0, or the first frame, the target is here. But if you look at this keyframe now, the one that I just edited, the target is going to face this direction, right? So it's showing it to me with a light blue arrow. And if I press play, it's basically going to interpolate to that and then go back to being aligned with the path, right? So you can also, this way, customize what you want to see, which direction you want to look at specific keyframes. So let's see what it's doing now. So it's basically going to start rotating. Yeah, this is basically the fly-through. It's a pretty simple tool. Like, there aren't too many options. Like Anthony was asking if you can change the visibility of stuff. I don't think you can. It's just basically a video representation of your project. And once you set up something like this, if you want to export it, let's see. No, you should set up, like, open up a floor plan view where you'll be able to see the path of the walkthrough. And I double clicked and opened the walkthrough as well, so that when I come here to walk through, do show camera, I see its path along the plan, and then you go to edit walkthrough, and you'll be able to look at what the walkthrough is doing in each frame, as well as change some of the controls. And you can override the number of controls here as well. So if you click here to walk through frames, it's basically going to show you the control points that you have on the walkthrough, which frame they correspond to, the speed. So you can, if I disable uniform speed, I can basically start customizing the movement of the camera along the spline, so I can have moments where it slows down and then speeds up again. Frames per second, normally videos are shot 24, 29 frames per second. So it's also going to define the speed of your movement. If you increase this, it's going to be a really fast movie. So if you shoot like 60 frames per second, that's going to be a fast movie. And you can also compress the overall frame count. So I can do, like, let's say 100, hit apply, and it's going to stretch the whole walkthrough according to that, and recalculate kind of how long it's going to take with this keyframe. With this frames per second rate. So let's say this is going to be 30. I'm going to have a 3-second video of this movement, right? So I'm going to hit OK. And if you're ready to export it, you can come to the Revit button, go to Export Images and Animations, and you choose Walkthrough. And it's going to basically receive the basic settings that you have. Then you can select the visual style format, so I can do like shaded with edges. Dimensions is going to be the resolution, so let's reduce this a bit. So let's do 600 by 520, so I can export it pretty quickly. And I'm going to hit OK. Then you can choose a file name. It's going to ask you for a codec, I guess. So what you're seeing here is going to be the process rendering it or extracting information frame per frame. So if I choose a rendering mode, it may take like a day for it to do 300 renderings and trigger every day. size, but it will allow you to at least override the path. Exported mine. I'm just gonna open. Loading, I guess. Let's see if I can use another program to view it. Open with News Media Player. I have these breaking moments for some reason. Probably I need to go back and edit the path. I have some control points. Make sure that you have a continuous view on your walkthrough. Show camera. Yeah, I guess some of these are like almost standstill. Anyway, let's go to another one. Let's look at some other stuff. Let's see. So let's look up ceilings quickly. I'm going to go to a section in the project. So let's go level 3, or I could do level 2. Let's do level 2, and I have this section A prime. I think it's one of these, section 1. So I'm going to go to level 2, and I'm going to work on this room here. So I'm going to create a suspended ceiling and start placing some lighting fixtures in it, and show you how you can also work with lights, ceilings. So the ceilings will be located under architecture, ceiling. And the important thing to know about ceiling is if you place it on the plan view, you won't be able to see it because it's going to be located above your view range. So you want to work on ceiling plans here. So if I want to place a ceiling for level 2, I go to the ceiling plan of level 2. And I want to place it using the section so that I can also study it in that view. So I'm going to go to ceiling. Now, if you do automatic ceiling, you'll be able to place them just like the way we did rooms yesterday. It's going to recognize the bounds, and it's going to place according to the type you have, type of ceiling. So right now I have 2x4 pieces, so 2 feet by 4 feet individual units. And you can place a suspended ceiling. And when you go to modify, you can also customize or align the pattern lines of the ceiling. So if you use the align tool under modify align, let's say I want to align this line of the ceiling to this corner. So pretty much like I want to align everything I want everything to start on this corner. You can choose this line and then choose this line of the ceiling and lock that relationship. And I can do that horizontally as well. So I can choose here and lock that relationship. So I'm basically lining up my ceiling plan accordingly. Right? I can also do this in between different ceilings. So I can line up this line to this line, this line to this line, and lock that relationship as well. No, you first put the drywalls, then put the suspended ceiling. Right? So if you look at the section, let's look at the section. So that's my suspended ceiling. It goes from wall to wall. Yes. So that's why you would need these walls to support it, right? Because that's how that's going to be attached. Otherwise, if it's suspended, you will have frames coming down from the ceiling to hold it. Now, if you have, let's say, you can also do like we did automatic ceiling. Right, so we have two options when you go to ceiling. We have automatic ceiling and sketch ceiling. Sketch ceiling basically allows you to put like a custom ceiling. Let's say in the corridor, my ceiling is going to be attached to this wall, and it's going to run continuously like that. So you can also sketch these. So maybe that's like the connection for the air duct. And let's say inside the room, I can go to edit boundary. It's like a floor object as well. You can edit the outline of it. So you can create like an offset from the window. So maybe that's where it stops. Or it can stop here. Right? Normally in hotel rooms, suspended ceiling goes all the way here. Doesn't bother with the height of the room. So I'm going to hit check. And when I look at the section, that's my suspended ceiling. Now, the reason why it's displayed like that is because of the graphic override. So if you go to visibility and graphics, ceilings are located here. So you can also give it a poche if you want it, but it's not a structural element. So might as well just leave it pretty light, or like give it a lighter fill. So let's say maybe it's gray fill. Right, so now I have the poche. If I go to view thin lines, that's going to be my suspended ceiling. Yes, so the returns, you need to do the returns using walls. So I need to model a wall here and place it at that height, because the ceiling, Revit doesn't have a siding object for the ceiling. You need to basically model something here to close it up. So I would do that if I go back to ceiling plan again. I would basically create a new wall type and just run it around the ceiling. So I'll go to architecture wall. Just start with any wall you want. Let's say the 5-inch generic. Go to edit type, duplicate it. Let's say this is ceiling siding, and the thickness, let's say it's going to be 2 inches, or let's say 3 inches. And you can go to edit structure and change the thickness of it here, 3 inches. Hit OK. Now coarse scale fill pattern, you can again choose the same gray shade we used for the ceiling, or just keep it black, consistent with the floor slabs if you want. I'm going to hit OK. Now I would come in here and add this wall here, and then I would also add here and go all the way around here and here. And if I go to my section again, that's the siding wall I just created. And what I would do is change its height. Right, so I would choose this wall and choose base constraint. Let's say the base constraint is going to be level 3. Hit apply. And we can offset it from level 3 if we wanted to. Right, so I can give a negative offset here. Let's say negative 3 feet. It will go all the way to the ceiling. And then my top offset, top constraint could be the same level, level 3, and maybe it's 0. So it's going to go basically over there. Or this could be negative 1 if you don't want to collide those elements. Right, so I can create the siding like that. I can do the same thing to this guy. So I would do level 3, negative 3, level 3, and -1. Absolutely. If I do like a line, or you can use the handlebars of the wall, right? I can push it, and then it will show me that lock constraint option again. So I can lock those relationships. So I can do that here too. So let's do a line and lock that relationship. So it will move basically along with the ceiling. Okay, and then let's put some light fixtures quickly. So I'm going to go back to level 2. That's the room I've been working with. So maybe we want to align the pattern. Now you can consider like aligning it here or keep it there. Maybe I want to put some lighting fixtures here. So let's import some. I'm going to go to Insert, Load Family, Lighting, Architectural, Internal, and bring in some of these lights. So let's say we want to use Trophy Light 2x4. So since I have a suspended ceiling with a 2x4 pattern, these will fit in pretty nicely in between them. I could also do pendant lights, let's say floor light, stand up. So these are like individual interior lights you can use. Huh?
They have like recessed can lights.
Recessed hand lights?
Recessed can lights, you know, the little circle ones that you see in all the developments now.
Yes, it says recessed.
There is?
Oh, okay.
Recessed can? This one? Yeah. Let's see. I haven't used that one yet, so let's look at that one too. Floor lamp stand up. I'm gonna load some of these. And then if you want to include lights, you go to Component, Architecture Component, and lights will be placed here. So I have the floor lamps. I have Trophy Light 2x4. Let's choose 4 lamp, this one. And then I'm going to place this guy here. Type in RO for rotate, and then rotate it 90 degrees. Then you can do the same alignment to the ceiling as well. Right? So you can lock those relationships. So this will be placed. Now the nice thing about these lights is they recognize the ceiling and they interact with it. So those panels where you place the light will be subtracted from the ceiling. So I'm going to look at the suspended ceiling in a bit inside this room. So let's go to level 2. I'm going to I can put a camera, or let me show you some other thing. Go to 3D view and right click, duplicate view. Rename this one to be room detail. And then go to your view cube, right click to it, and then do orient to view. Sections, section 1. Hit OK. Now it's going to line up the 3D view with the section. And if you hold Shift and right click, this is actually a 3D view. So what it does is basically it uses the section you place on the project and then creates a section cut axon for it. Now the room I've been working with, I can see it here. Right? So I've been working with it in section, but now I'm making it in 3D basically. I'm going to turn off the shadows and switch to hidden. So that's the suspended ceiling, and that's the trophy light I just placed, right? So it interacts with the ceiling and takes out those panels. I'm going to go to level 2 again. Let's put some floor lamps as well. So to go to component, you could switch to the floor lamp. Let's put a lamp here to the corner. That lamp is there. I don't know. Let's see. What was the type you said? No, no, the other one before that.
Those are can lights, recessed can lights.
Recessed can lights. These. So we could place some of them as well. So let's go to suspended ceiling. That's the recessed can light right there. But I'm not sure if it interacts with the suspended ceiling. Now the last thing I want to show about ceilings is to you can also create like these interior lights, create arrays of them, and then put them in a group, and you can basically use them for specific renderings. You can take out or filter through the lighting groups basically. So I'm going to create a first lighting group. So I go to this room. Let's actually make another one. So I'm going to create some more here. You could also use the array tool, right? It's actually pretty efficient to do the array tool for ceiling lights. So if I do, let's say, here, and then I'm going to enter 4. It has to be 3 actually. So I can create an array here. I'm going to do copy, let's say here, create another array. And this guy, again, 3. Now I'm going to select this guy and go to lighting groups, edit new. These are all the lights that I have. And I'm going to create a new lighting group. Let's call it room 1. And then room 2. Room 3. Lighting groups are, you need to select one of the lights and then light group is here. You go to edit new and then create new group. Just enter some names, and the advantage of this is basically you'll be able to select individual lights that you place in the scene and put them in a group. Right, so I'm going to put these into room 1. Hit OK. These guys into room 2. Edit group. Let's see. Let's do ungroup. These into room 2. You guys get the idea. These into room 3. Now if I go back to my light groups, they will be clustered under those groups I just created. And the advantage of that is if you have like tons of interior lights in the scene and you just want to make one interior shot, let's say you want to do an interior rendering for this room. So let's go to like create a camera here. Let's go to view camera. So I'm going to place a camera here with a target. Let's see. And let's set up an eye elevation. Let's do 16. Let's say if I want to do a rendering of the scene, I could go to render, and for the lighting I'm going to choose interior, sun, and artificial. And if you go to artificial lights list here, you'll be able to see all the lights you have created in the scene, or all the lights you have, and you may want to uncheck some of them that you don't want to use, right? So if you have, let's say, 100 lights, you don't want all of them to be computed, or you don't want the system to go through them because it's kind of redundant, right? The only lights that are going to affect this image are going to be the lights in this room, so you can filter through them. As well as the other advantages, if they are too powerful, you can also do the dimming here, so you can change their intensity by overriding them altogether. So that's kind of the advantage of the lighting groups. Okay, so let's say medium, do realistic. Let's give it a pass. Let's play around with the exposure a bit. Let's make it a bit more darker. Let's do warmer. I can also take out under the scheme, lighting scheme, I can also switch the artificial only. Let's look at the scene with just artificial lights so that we can get the sunlight. So it basically lines up the section box. So that's my shot with just artificial lights for if you want to do kind of interior shots. That's a good idea. Let's look up the ceiling. Edit type, structure. Well, it also has a structure and finish, so it kind of behaves like a wall or a floor would do, right? So if you want to customize your ceiling, go to choose one of the ceilings, go to edit type, and here we have basically the suspended ceiling family, and it has a structural layer here where you'll be able to add layers or customize it. So basically has a structure layer, which is, I guess, kind of an aluminum framing or something simple, and then there's a ceiling finish. So what you could do is create a new material, make it color or texture, and then replace this material basically, and you'll be able to save it as something else. So we could do that quickly. So I can go to materials. Let me see if I already have some color. Let's make it like a color. Or we could even do wood actually. Wood, birch, metal, earth, door. Custom aluminium red, this is the one I had. Custom aluminium dark. I'm going to duplicate this one and call it, let's say, custom orange. Make it orange. Actually, I'm going to do cancel. Let's do a new one. Orange. And then coming here, go to edit type, structure, finish, add your orange. Let me see if duplicate. Let's make orange. This has some pattern. Okay, we have a pattern here, so might as well start with overriding this one and change this image and replace it with color, I guess. Because don't forget, these also have like built-in thermal and physical layers, since it's an acoustic ceiling. So let's go about like creating a variation of this. So let's call it number 2. Yes, because of this pattern on the graphics, it has this. Well, because we snapped things to the pattern of that layer, and when you like take it out, it's going to ask for those lines that you use to snap other objects to, right? So I could basically do it this way. I could, rather than overriding this one, I could create a new one. Just go to ceiling, automatic ceiling. Let's create one here, and then this guy, edit type, duplicate. Let's call it system 2, and this one I'm going to override here. Right, so the one I placed here would be orange, and it doesn't have a floor plan fill right now, so let's see. Was it? Which one was it? Orient to view section 1. The orange one I created is here. It's not too clear. I'll just adjust the view cube a bit more. But it's here. It's the orange one. It doesn't have a floor plan like view, right? So if I go to let me see where it is actually. Filter, check non-ceilings. It's there, but it doesn't have a floor plan representation. So if I do just edit boundary and move it here, all I would see is the line that defines it. And if I want to customize what I want to see in the plan, I have to override the properties of the material I created, the orange one, and I can create a surface pattern for it, just the way the acoustic one had. Right, so I could just do, let's say, go to model. There's ceiling here too. So it was using one of these, probably 24 by 48 grid. So you could do like wood board white or parallel lines. Let's choose this one. So now it will be showing that for the roof. Although I don't have wood, I'm just showing you basically it behaves like the way you would customize a wall or a floor. Right? And if I go to, let's look at that room. Show camera. Actually, let's place a new camera there. View, 3D view camera. So the roof is orange. And that's a suspended ceiling as well. Okay? I would say use colors for your suspended ceilings if you are going to do them. Just like create, you could do. So the next thing I'm going to show. Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to open the sample project again. Let's look at this example in the sample project. I'm going to close these. Now in Revit 2015 and 14, they've added a new feature in 3D called displacement sets that allows you to actually create exploded drawings or diagrams in 3D, and we'll be looking at that. So I'm going to start by a 3D view, and then right click to it and do duplicate view, and rename this one and call it, let's say, exploded diagram. And then within this view, I'm going to change the view style to be hidden lines. And then if you come to the Modify tab, if you select or choose an object, under View tab, we have this Displace Elements option, which wasn't available in the previous versions. And if you look at what the video does, it basically allows you to displace objects from their default position in the project, and then create a view specific layout. Right? So the way it works is basically if I choose Displace Elements, let's say I want to move the roof up and see what's under the roof in that view, it prompts me to this handlebar with these arrows, and I can use these to basically displace this object and kind of set up another, let's say, isometric view. So maybe I want to see what's under that roof, right? The elements. And then I can also add projection paths, lines. And if you choose that, you can basically choose any of the corners, and Revit will automatically add the dotted lines corresponding to the displacement. I mean, this is a pretty nice tool, but again, it works with really simple stuff, right? So I can also do kind of a multi-layered exploded view. And the way to do that would be to create different types of displacement sets. So in this case, let's say my roof is one of those sets. So I'm going to move it a bit further up, and the nice thing is the lines come along with it. Let's say I want to create another one. I want to move the second floor above the first floor as well. and then kind of stack these layers up on each of them. So I'm going to choose this wall here and choose displace elements and move this guy up somewhere here in between. And then if I want to do, let's see, displacement. This guy. If you go to under displacement set, if you go to edit, this is kind of similar to creating groups. If you do add, if I choose other elements in the model, they would use the same displacement option for that object that I have just created, right? So if I want to add these walls to that selection as well, they will be following the displacement value for this set. So it's kind of a group. I'm creating a group and I'm telling them move up by 60 feet or 40 feet, and then I'm adding more elements to that group as well, so they take the same displacement and same direction. So I'm going to move, let's say, every object, every other wall on this floor plan. Let's say I'm going to add these guys as well. I can also add this wall. I could also add this floor. I also have a suspended ceiling, furniture as well. Or we could hide the furniture in this view. But basically, the goal is to kind of group everything on that level as one thing, and then displace them to kind of a different location. I'm going to hit check. And then you could also add a path to this. So let's say I want to add, well, I'm not seeing anything there, but let's say this guy. Let's delete these lines. Let's choose this guy and do a path. Well, it goes all the way from there. Let's do a path here. It basically draws the path from its default location and to its displaced location. Yeah. Can you displace from displacement group? Yeah, you can. So you mean like move these walls around as well? I think you should be able to. So if I do edit, if I remove this guy, create another displacement, so you can move it up again. Something like that. Well, of course, it still registers its default displacement, right? So I think you're thinking of like doing a horizontal as well. Well, it becomes kind of a nested construction for this type of visual representation, so it's, I think, too complex to handle for Revit. It has to be something really simple, so you can stack up like vertical elements or construction of a wall. Normally, people also do like an isolated view, like let's say a stairwell, and then to show the stairwell correctly, they just displace the side walls of it, right? So you can also do something like that. Let's say this. But the important thing to know is this is a view-specific override we're creating, right? If I go to another view, the project is not changed. That's kind of the advantage of using displacement set, because it's only specific to this view that I'm creating, so that it's just like applied in this viewport, right? Every other view is kind of the same. Okay, so I can choose, let's say, another angle. Let's hide some of the elements. So let's say I want to hide the trees. I can go, I can choose one of them and do hide by category, so they will be hidden. Maybe I don't want to see furniture, so I could do hide by category here as well. Let's include a section box too. Let's do section box. Section box is enabled. If you want to see it, it's probably hidden. You can toggle the hidden elements. So go to close the reveal hidden elements, choose a section box, and then do unhide. Then we could also filter some of the information around the building so that it's mostly going to represent the exploded diagram we want to create, right? So I can just move this in a bit, so I can create like a diagram like this. And when I'm ready, I can just switch to an ISO view, hide this element, hide the section box, and then right click to my exploded view, save the project as image. Let's say 9,000. Again, all the other stuff that we have been doing, pochés, customization of the line weights, colors, you could also add those. And that image would be here. Right? It's a line drawing. Let me see, if you want to customize the exploded diagram lines, the style is straight, there's jogged. Well, you don't want to do that. Style. Let me see if it's under manage object styles. Section line, model object lines. Back to the hotel and see if we can create something like that. So let's go to 3D view. Let's say I want to start with this one. I'm going to do duplicate, rename, exploded. I mean, I can restrict the box to only show this portion of the facade. Let's say we filter out a bit from the other side as well. And then I'm going to choose this guy and do displace elements. I guess it has to be in the group. Let's see, displace elements. I want to move it here. Moving I mean, you can also separate the balconies or the facade construction, layer it up, right? I'm going to finish. Come back to the wall. Let's make another displacement set. Move it out. Finish. And then edit group. Well, when it's a group, you have to edit it within the group. So if you move one of the furniture, then you can do you can choose the displacement group and then add to that group, right? So you can add other stuff to it. So I can add, let's see how I can do this. Let's do cancel displacement group. Displacement group. Well, I may have to ungroup this actually. Let's do an ungroup. Yes, do yes, and then let's choose one of those. And I mean, if you have stuff like this, don't forget, we're only creating one specific view and we can customize it, right? So if there's something you don't want to see in that view specifically, you can just select the individual element, right click, and just do hide element, right? So you can take out or hide filter through stuff like that. I mean, in this case, what I want to do is a representation of the unit. So I'm just trying to work towards constructing something like that. And then for each displacement group, we could also add paths. So you could add these displacement lines to the walls by choosing their edges. Let's switch to a hidden line view. I actually wanted to move them a bit more. So if I go back here, you can separate them a bit more. And this guy is going to be here. Yeah. Say it again. Let's see if we can do that. So everything else, you mean? Yeah, sounds like something tedious to do, because like I'm not sure if there's an automatic command to do that. Because to be able to like halftone them, you know, like we're doing it under visibility and graphics, halftones are here, so they're per category, they're not per object, per group. So let me see if there's a trick. Maybe I can find something and like post it as a separate tutorial or video. But if not, just you know, create kind of you can work on something like this, or you can just split the additional floors above the building and just show the axonometric view plan view of that floor, right? So you can just separate or stack all individual floors. Actually, let's make another copy of that. Let's see if we can do. Displacement. So this guy moves all the way up here. And then I can do edit and then add everything basically on that floor to that, right? Something like this. Right, so I can select this guy, control its height. So maybe I want to represent the ISO view here. And the trick with the ISOs, the displacement, you don't want it to overlap with the underlying drawing, right? You don't want it to be too low so that you're hiding parts of the drawing underneath. So you want to displace it in such a way that the gap between these is not too much, but you also see kind of clearly what's underneath that element. And then you can add paths as well. Well, the ones on the other side I can't because I have a section crop. Let's see if I can add to these lines. And find some elements where you could add those lines, like these. It just recognizes the edges of the elements or the corners of the elements. So like you could use the core lines. Just find some elements that you think would look nice. Let me see. Well, these weren't connected. The corners are connected, the walls are connected. I guess for these I need to choose. Yes, yes, absolutely. That's correct. So let's go try to click here. So you need to find the right displacement point. So it's going to be this line here. And if you want to do it temporarily, you can just go to the displacement group, edit it. Let's see. You can just come in here, choose the displacement group, path, and then find those points where the displacement occurred. Right, for the stairs it's going to be these lines. Right? So a few lines would do the job. You don't have to add a displacement line for each column. A few of them just to show that how it's moving, it will be enough. And the other thing, let's see. I am actually thinking whether you can add a poche here too. But now it's a projection. Right, it's the surface of the object. It's not being cut anymore. And if we do a cut, it's not going to poche it correctly. So let's see if we can override some of these. So work on something like this with using the displacement sets. Again, you can do one for the overall project and one for individual units to show like how they're located or where they're located in the project. For your individual units, you can also use this diagram, right? So I asked you to do like hide the sidewalls. You can also create displacement sets for those as well. So you can move one side of the room away from the model and the other side as well, and add the displacement lines as exploded, and just take a hidden line image of the axon. Right, so this is a displacement group. So if I choose this group, go to edit. Say what? Okay. So this guy, and then, well, it's part of here too. Let's do this guy instead. So rather than choosing the group, you say choose the individual element. This guy, and then do another displacement. Move it further up. Yeah. And then do path. So it throws to that displacement, right? So it works. That's good. Yeah. You could do nested displacement. Yeah, you could do nested displacement basically. So if you come in here, you basically have to choose the individual unit though, because normally they will be grouped under the first displacement group. So you should choose individual directly, and then you can also add. So it's actually nice. It recognizes its previous group, and then you can draw lines from that. Yeah, let's do it. Say it again? Yeah, jog it. like this? Do you like these though? No, I don't either. Let's keep them just orthographic, right? So to answer your previous question, nested displacement. When I have a displacement group, if I want to create another displacement within this group, you have to toggle to the individual element, right? So you go to use the tab key to iterate. Let's go to this guy, and then you can hit displacement elements again, and then this could be further separated from that group. Well, let's do it again. And then if I were to add lines to that, it will draw it from the group that it was displaced from. So you could technically do move up and move up sideways. I actually want to go back to the template project and try to do that. Let's see. Duplicate view. Yeah, this guy, so we do displacement. Now I'm going to choose this, go to edit, add to this displacement, so let's add the side walls, finish, and then come in here, choose this guy again, displacement, move it out, displacement, move it out. So the path for this is here. This guy, the path is here. Well, I may have to bring this wall as well. So when you want to actually draw these lines, it's nice to have an object there, right? So might as well bring this wall too. So it has something to connect to at least. Okay? So again, you can do the housing. You can move it out. Move the wall sideways, this way, keep the lines, but always have elements where you connect the lines to.